Hi, welcome to 13 on the Home of Real Leadership, in which we invite top leaders to share their top tips with us. And this will last exactly 13 minutes. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by John McLaughlin, Chief Executive Officer of COGENT Executive. Hi, John, nice to see you.
Good afternoon, David. Nice to see you too.
John, could you just say a little bit about what you do and what COGENT Executive is in under a minute, please?
Yes, of course. COGENT Executive was formed on the basis of the ever-developing change that takes place in business, and we are merging that gap between advice and delivery. So we're very much focused on the whole delivery aspect of what business leaders need to engage with change and disrupt their marketplace.
And you are looking, you basically find people who will help them do that, is that right?
Yes, what we do is we have, over the last sort of 30 years, I've managed to amass quite a network of the very top of those in their field who are, for whatever reason, choosing a portfolio career. So these are executive interims, independent consultants, non-executive directors who have really been there, seen it and done it, and have learned from their own experiences on how to really get things done in business.
Now, as you all know, people don't know what I'm going to ask them to do until just before the call. And John had a dare from me. I bet you can't get through the introduction without mentioning the term interim management, one of the most boring terms of all time. And he did it. He nearly went there once with interim, but he did it. This is a guy who's a true pioneer, very honored to say a partner of us in Naked Leader, and we're doing amazing stuff together, and that's thanks to you, John. So sorry to get a bit carried away. Just wait till I say to you what he's going to cover with you. John is going to cover with you one of the most challenging things I've ever said, which is from his vast experience, incredible Black Book network. I mean, he's old, by the way, with a vast experience. What are the top 3 trends in leadership that are coming up next? And he just said, okay, I'll do that. Not a note written, not a moment to think, just stared at the camera and said, I'll make it up. He doesn't mean he'll make it up. What he means is, he'll share with us what the real 3 trends are going to be. John, I'm going to put you on speaker view. I'm going to put myself on silent because it's not about me. Over to you. Go.
Thank you, David. Yes, certainly. To share my main 3 areas that I feel are the most prevalent at the moment. Everybody is discussing change and disruption. Change is constant. We know that. It's always been there. But I think never more so than where we find ourselves, with major organizations having to adapt, change, grow, disrupt their markets, with the opportunity to become absolute leaders within their field, something they may have taken much longer to have achieved if it wasn't for the current situation. The second one that I think that we're talking about here is also legacy. Individual senior leaders, they want to leave a legacy behind them. They want to be able to be proud of what they're doing, look back on it and show, you know, this is what I did when I was there, this is how it came, and look at it now. I think that legacy is a real personal part. And that leads nicely on to the third one. It's about personal growth. It's about those leaders who really can accept what they don't know, but know they want to achieve certain aspects, to get that depth and wealth of experience to come and surround them, to support them, to help promote them and deliver their strategic objectives. For me, those 3 are absolute key.
Thank you, John. Really clear, concise and compelling. May I just, we've got plenty of time now and we arranged to have a chat about this. May I just ask you one question on each of those, just so we can get into a little bit more detail? Change and disruption, absolutely. Do you think that disruption has just become another word for change in a way, and that people are almost disrupting for disruption's sake?
I think that many business leaders have been guilty of that. My own personal view is that if you formulate and construct your outcomes at the beginning to know what your disruption is going to cause or what you expect it to cause, then change and disruption is a very good thing to have.
And you mentioned outcomes there, which, sorry, I didn't mean to go. I'm just really excited when people mention outcomes, because I just think organizations at the moment, and for many years actually, have almost lost track of outcomes. You go into a project in an organization and you find that the really positive people are saying, we need to do this. And the really negative people are saying, oh, we've done all this before, it's a disaster. Whereas what's your outcome? I heard very strongly there. So thank you for that. Not just for agreeing with our philosophy, but just agreement with common sense, the blindingly obvious. Fascinated by legacy. This has become a really big sort of trendy thing, hasn't it, in the last few years? Chief executives, C-level executives want to be remembered for what they've done in an organization. What do you think are the main areas of legacy? Is it a delivery? Is it a relationship thing? Is it a force for good thing? I mean, what are your thoughts on legacy generally, John?
Culture. I think that the great leaders create a culture of can-do, a culture of leading by example, allowing the people that are within their organization to be the very best they can be, understanding what they don't know, and making sure that those areas are really enhanced and fulfilled and spread throughout the organization. Because in my personal view, an organization is only ever as powerful as the people within it. And I think true leaders understand that. And that surely has got to be the greatest legacy any leader can leave the business.
Brilliant. And you talked about personal growth as well. And I suppose that personal growth comes, as you say, from knowledge, but it also comes from, I mean, well-being is really taking off in organizations now. So it's not just personal growth of that particular person, is it? It's ensuring, I think, building on your last answer, that everyone grows as well. Are you finding that these days?
Yes, I think that, as you rightly say, they go hand in hand. And it is about those leaders who know they don't know. I mean, so many leaders think they should have the answers to everything, and it's not possible. The truly great ones, of course, they go to the source of that wisdom, learn from it, and then pass it on. And that, I believe, it links the two of the culture, the personal growth, and also that legacy piece. It brings it all together. And I think that you're right, the whole sort of well-being, but a well-being of a business also goes hand in hand with giving people the opportunity to express themselves and to grow within it.
And are you seeing this more and more in organizations? Is this a trend that you're seeing being adopted slowly, or because we're moving, I know you do a lot of stuff in financial services, John, which is quite traditionally been quite command and control. Do you see this as happening quite slowly, or do you see this as an absolute must and given for organizations if they truly want to get through this very difficult period in our history?
I think it's an absolute must. And there are some examples. I can't give you the absolute example, but there was an incredibly large financial institution that's incredibly well known that achieved a 3 to 4 year plan inside of 4 months. Now, this was encapsulating nearly 25,000 employees. So this is a huge change and a huge shift that's happening across the board. And if these major organizations, including those heavily regulated, are able to grasp that and move forward, I think that those that push back, hold back, will not be able to keep up or indeed disrupt and change anywhere near what they need to do in this current climate.
So it's interesting, John, because it's quite exciting actually listening to you, because it's very exciting because you're talking about a mix of a new sort of business age where people have to move faster, but also with a focus on well-being. And I like that mix. And you're almost saying it's not one or the other. It's and both of those can go together.
Oh, it has to be and. I think that if it isn't and, then you go back to the whole personal growth and legacy being not part of they are part of my 3 pillars. So therefore, if you don't encapsulate that whole well-being piece, if you don't promote it and you don't empower the people that you work with to deliver in a new way, in a whole new context, then of course, you've missed that whole point. And allowing people to do that gives them more satisfaction personally, better well-being, a more feeling of inclusion. All those aspects come with that. And I think that is absolutely critical if you truly want to be at the top of your game and be known and revered for what you do.
John doesn't know I'm going to ask him this just to close, John. What are the top 3 characteristics of the new leader moving forward then? The top 3 characteristics.
Flexibility being absolute, the prime one, knowing that you have to change and adapt. I think second is knowing when you don't know, being able to say, look, guys, we want to guys and girls, we want to go forward on this. We know we have to do it, and we are going to bring the very best we can get together to help us deliver it. And I think that, again, that inclusion piece. So they would be my top two.
Give me a third. Give me a third quickly.
I think in reality, you have to put all of that together and say that, going back to what we initially said, is understand where you're going, know your destination, understand the outcome and what it truly means.
John, roller coaster ride as always, and I know you're a very busy man, and I'm so pleased we managed to catch you. Thank you ever so much for giving your time today.
David, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for asking.